Hey there humans, it is I, BigGreenBeast, and today we are going to do something that I think will help out a lot of you guys. I'm going to make an official Turbo Kart Racers tutorial, BigGreenBeast style, so you guys can figure out how to play it. This will give you all the basics, and basically everything you need to know about the game in general. This will probably be one of my longer videos, so I'll put timestamps in the description and you can skip to the different parts. Some of you who've been watching my channel for a while may have noticed that I recently already made a Turbo Kart Racers video, and that one was like tips and tricks and stuff, but I was extremely vague in that one, and I don't think it was a very good video for people who wanted to actually learn the game. It was more gameplay oriented, so now I'm going to actually teach you how everything works from the beginning. Let's go. So first of all, you're in the lobby, right? Whatever lobby you're in, doesn't matter. Go to Hypixel. There is no Turbo Kart Racers game button thing here. It's in Classic Games. And as you see in the list, there is Turbo Kart Racers at the bottom. Then you go into the Classic Games lobby. Sometimes it'll load the game textures already. I have it set to that, but you don't need to worry about that. If you have never played this game before, this won't happen to you yet. So then, basically, when you come into the Classic lobby, you spawn right here. If you have a rank, you can fly over there, but you can just hop on the slime pad that says Turbo Kart Racers, and it'll take you right over here to the Turbo Kart Racers game. This guy, you click on him, and there's two things, TKR Shop and Play TKR. We do not worry about TKR Shop quite yet. Right now, you just click Play TKR, and we go. So now here, in this waiting lobby, you'll see an automatic resource pack pop up. Don't worry, it's supposed to do that, because without the resources, TKR is pretty hard to play. If that doesn't show up for you, then maybe you have server resource packs disabled, so then you just click on the Hypixel server, you hit edit, and then you make sure that server resource packs is on enabled. It can also be on disabled and prompt. Just make sure it's on enabled, and it'll do it for you automatically. If it still doesn't work, might be some server client issue. You can also just download the pack yourself. I'll put a download link in the description of this video. Anyway, let's continue. So once you're in here and you've got your resources loaded, you need to learn the basic controls. Go forward is forward. It doesn't matter if you sprint or walk, it's the same speed. Sprinting just makes your FOV a little higher. As you can see, it doesn't matter where I aim my crosshair, I always just go forward, and to turn, you use your left and right. So it's not like a, I guess you'd say like a horse, where it aims at where you're looking at. You kind of have to steer with your left and right, sort of like a boat. You can also press space to honk your horn, like this. You can hear that honking, good. And finally, there's braking, which you don't need to do very often unless you get stuck in a wall or against a wall like this. Then you can do brake by just going backwards. It also helps you slow you down tremendously, so if you're going fast, you can use brake to slow down a lot. A word on F5 versus normal. When you're just learning the game, it's useful to go in F5 because you can see everything around you and it's easier to learn the controls. Another word on FOV, keep your FOV on Quake Pro when you're playing this game. Just don't forget to switch it back because you get really used to it, and then it can really hinder you in a lot of other games. Alright, let's get into how the beginning of the race works. So, as you can see, when everyone's there and it counts down, you get teleported to here. There's those green lights, but it also spawns on your screen. Ready, set, go. I prefer to sprint because it makes my FOV higher. And look, I can go straight. I can go, yay, TKR, it's fun. Now, one thing that I should have showed you in the lobby that's very interesting is, see this big patch of blue ahead of me? That, my friends, is called a speed boost pad. And when you go over it, it gives me a big burst of speed. And see those floating blue things over there? Those are, I guess you'd call them floating blue lucky blocks. They give you power-ups when you run into them. So for example, if I run into one of these blue things, as you can see, the speed boost gave me a boost. And now I have a power-up in my hotbar. I'll show you what all these power-ups do in a quick second. First, I'm going to go through the ones that speed you up, which there are very few of. The first thing you'll get is something called a red booster mushroom. It doesn't look anything like a mushroom. I don't know why they call it that. Basically, when you right-click on this, it gives you a small speed boost, as if you were going over a speed boost pad. You can get 1 or 3 of these at a time, but of course, the 3 of these at a time is rarer than just getting a single-use one. There's another kind of speed boost as well, which is much rarer, called a golden speed boost. And instead of clicking that once, you have to hold down right-click, very important, hold down right-click, and it gives you a large speed boost that's very good for getting past massive groups of players and getting very far into the game. It's a pretty OP speed boost. There's another one that inadvertently gives you a speed boost. It's called a plasma shield. Looks like this. I'm putting them on screen as I talk. What it does is it gives you a small speed boost and 7 seconds of resistance to any power-ups that people are aiming at you that hinder you. One tip I have for using any booster mushrooms is, and especially they do not work well on uphills. Also, don't use them when you're going over speed boost pad, because the speed boost does not stack. If you use them in an area where there's no speed boosts, though, or speed boost pads, then it will work very well. Now I'll talk about the things that can hinder you, and there's way more of them, and you can hinder other people with as well. First one is the banana. The slippy banana, technically, but it's just a banana. This, I'm pretty sure, is the most common one. And really all it is when you right-click, it drops a banana peel behind you, and when someone goes over that banana peel, which they could dodge, but if they run into the banana peel, then their cart sort of wipes out and stops and slips around a little. It just is a very good way of slowing people down. Another power-up that can hinder people are missiles, and there's 3 kinds of missiles. The first one is a green missile. Like the speed boosts, or the red booster mushrooms, you only get 1 or 3 of these at a time. And basically all it is you right-click, and it fires a missile straight from where your crosshair is pointing. It doesn't really aim at anything, it just goes straight. They can be hard to use. They're best used on a straightaway. The second kind of missile is called a red missile, and it's the same as a green missile, you can only get 1 of them at a time. But when you aim it at someone, it doesn't just go in a straight line. If someone's within a certain closeness to you, it'll actually home in on them. And also, if it's just going straight, which the game calls running headless, if no one's within range, and then suddenly someone comes within range of the missile, then it'll home in on them. And finally, the rarest missile of all is the blue missile, which you can fire in any direction, doesn't matter where, and it will go and hit the person in first place, which is pretty cool. As well as bananas and missiles, there are a few other different things. For example, the notched sword, which you can either hit someone with or throw, and it fires them in the direction that your crosshair is pointing, which is good if someone's behind you. You can turn around, aim that notched sword at them, and fire the sword behind you. There's also a squid, which is a little interesting. When you right-click on it, nothing happens to you, but everyone else in the game's screen goes black, and words appear on it for a few seconds. It's very good. It's sort of like a blindness thing for everyone else in the game except you. As well as some pretty cool kind of rare things, there's a lightning strike, which strikes lightning down on everyone else in the game, spins them out, and makes their carts really small and slippy, aroundy. I don't know how to describe it. Next, there is a silly bomb, which is kind of like a missile, except you drop it behind you. It's a piece of TNT that drops behind you, and after a few seconds, it blows up, and anyone who is caught there while it's blowing up gets shot up in the air as if they were hit with a missile. A tip for this one is use it in a tight space where no one can go around it. They will be forced to be caught in the explosion. Because if you put it in a wide area, then people can just go around it and there's no point. Another thing that can hinder people pretty well and is actually really underestimated is the power of the snowball. So the snowballs you get in groups of, I think, like 5. I don't know. It's not like 1 at a time. You definitely get more than that. Basically, when you throw that someone, it doesn't spin them out or anything. It just makes them a lot slower, which is really nice for when you're trying to pass people in a game. And finally, there is something called a fire flower, which you can get 1 or 3 of at a time. And when you throw it, if you throw enough of them at someone, it burns their cart out. It spins them off, and sort of like what a slippy banana does. And yeah, that is every single power-up in TKR. So now that you know all the power-ups, I think you're ready to learn some things that actually happen during the race. So it's ready, set, go. And you go. So a few things. There, I think, is 5 different TKR maps. It's not the same every single time. Oh, there's a blue missile right there, just like I told you. You want to hit the person first. There's a silly bomb. Here's a notched sword. No one's nearby, so I'll just throw them away so I can get something better. But basically, there's 5 different maps, and you should try and get pretty good at all of them. Now, there's some places in the map where you have a choice of going over speed boost or not. Definitely go over the speed boost, even if you have to zigzag and wind around a little more. It's a lot faster. Now, there's a few things during the race that you should look at continuously. So on the right, as you can see, there's a placement, which shows you who's in first, second, third. I just use a speed boost to come in first, and there we go. You can also look at which lap it is. There are 3 laps around the whole track throughout the race. You can see that over the hotbar. I'm in lap 1, and you can also see your position next to it, position 1. You can see how many coins you've earned, and stuff like that. And finally, TKR is a pretty glitchy game. If you run into some places, you can actually fall out of the map, which you do not want to do. If that happens, here's what you do. You do /stuck. Just like that, enter, and it teleports you back to the track where you can keep on racing. It's really annoying because usually so many people have passed you by the time you do that, but I mean, it's better than being stuck for the whole rest of the race. Okay, and if you look at that, I've just finished the race in 3rd place, probably because I was not focusing on the game. But here's what happens. So after you finish a race, you are teleported to the stands where you can watch other people finish, and it's pretty cool and fun. After everyone finishes or the time runs out, then something else happens. So see, as the race ends, then you're teleported here. The top 3 players get to stand on these podiums. And yeah, as you can see, I just won a part. I'll show you what a part is right now. So basically, at the end of each game, no matter what place you get, you win a part, but the higher place you get in the race, the better a part you will get. That's just sort of how it works. And I'll show you what parts are, and basically the whole TKR shop right now, I guess. So we press play TKR to play the game of Turbo Kart Racers, but there's also this shop. Before we talk about the shop, let's talk about coins. You can get coins in-game by actually running over the gold coins and picking them up. You can get coins from winning, you can get coins, a lot of ways to get coins, like many other games. So you hit TKR Shop, and there's 4 buttons you can press. Kart upgrades, cosmetics, settings, and Grand Prix rewards. I'll go through all of these. First of all, Kart upgrades is here, and this is where you can see all the parts that you've won from a game, and you can decide what to do with them. So first of all, at the right here is Kart Customizer. And here are your 3 kart parts. Now, you always have 3 kart parts: a frame, a turbocharger, and an engine. And they can, of course, be better or worse because they have different things they can do. I have fully maxed parts. And here's the things. A turbocharger gives you booster speed, basically how much faster you go when you go over a booster pad. Drifting efficiency, which is something I'll talk about later. Drifting, shifting, that control, that is for more advanced users. Brakes, which is how fast you can stop by pressing the back arrow. That's the turbocharger. The frame is traction, which is basically how far you slip when you go over something like a slippy banana. Start position, which does nothing. It just gives you a higher chance of being a higher place when the race begins. It does put you in front of other people the higher it is, which I guess can be nice. And finally, handling, which is basically how well it cuts corners. Finally, the engine. Recovery, very important. How fast you can get back on your feet after you get hit by something like a missile. Acceleration is how fast you can speed up. And top speed, which is something very important to have a high thing in, is the maximum speed your kart can go. And that's all those parts. So, you can choose different parts that you have by clicking on the part and then going through. For example, I have this Eternal Awesome turbocharger, but I've also won these turbochargers, which, as you can see, are not as good. Standard basic, starter basic. My frames, I just have the one, and I just have the one here. The reason I just have the ones is because if you have parts that you don't need, you can actually scrap them for coins over in the junkyard. You press on the parts that you don't want, and then you can say continue or cancel. I'm going to scrap both of these, and it gives me, as you can see in chat, a very small amount of coins from those parts. You can also roll for coins, so for 2,500 coins, you can roll for a random part. You go here, you click continue or cancel. I'm going to continue just to show you how it works. And then, just like at the end of the race, it rolls you a part. Usually it's pretty trash. I would not recommend doing this. See, that's an experimental awesome frame. Sadly, you cannot combine parts. It's just how it works. Finally, here's Part Crafter, which is probably most important. For a different amount of coins, you can make your own customized part. Now, how you want to do this is you want to go through each of the 3 parts, the frame, the turbocharger, and the engine. You want to turn all of these up to max and save up enough money to actually buy that. When it's a max, it's called an Eternal Awesome whatever part it is, and it's full everything. This costs 290,000 coins, which can take a while to get to, but trust me, it's way better than slowly, upgrading your parts from, a basic to a starter to an awesome. It's really not as good. You want to save up for your big parts. The order you want to do this in is you want to do your engine first, then your turbocharger, and then finally your frame. Usually. Unless you have some really weird strat where you need to, do brakes or something, that's definitely the way you want to go. Okay, I think that's enough of these part things. Let's go back to here, and here are cosmetics, settings, and Grand Prix rewards. I'm actually going to go to settings before cosmetics, because this is a little more important. When you go here, there's a few things you can select. There's the win prefix, which basically, depending on the amount of gold trophies you have from winning in first, you can change the color of your prefix. And it goes, see, 25 gold trophies, 50, 100, all the way up to black, which is 10,000. Right now I'm on gray. I'm almost to 25. I have 22. Almost to white. And yeah, you can just click on the one that you want to change to, depending on what you've unlocked. Okay, we're going back, and here's particle quality. I recommend turning these off, especially when you're aiming behind you, because particles come out the back of your cart, and then it's really hard to see who's behind you and to aim, so I would just click no particles. It also reduces the lag from playing heavily, which is really important, so you probably want to turn this to no particles if you experience a lot of lag from playing this game. Now, music selection, you can select different musics from the different maps and lobbies, whether you want it on or off. If it annoys you, you can turn it off. I think the music's great, so I'm gonna keep it on. Temperature gauge, which shows you how hot your kart's engine is when you're drifting. Keep that on, because drifting is really important. Again, I will explain it later, okay? Right after I explain the shop. Here's Lobby Resource Pack. If you just play TKR as a classic game, have this on. Basically what this does is it loads the resource pack before you join the game, which is what happened to me, as you guys saw. I have this on because I only do TKR in the classic games lobby. I don't play Quakecraft or Vampire Z or anything. And it's just a lot faster when you exit games, because if you don't have it on, when you exit the game and go back to the lobby, it has to unload the pack and then reload it when you join again. It's just a lot faster for me. Here's the announcer. I think he's really annoying. He basically says things out loud like, when you've taken the lead, he says, "You've taken the lead." So it's kind of annoying, sort of. And he also says ready, set, go in the beginning of the game. I just keep him off. And finally, item messages. Kind of important to have this on. Because, for example, let's say you're in first, and you drop a banana behind you, and there's a guy in second. In chat, it'll tell you who slipped on your banana, if they slip on the banana. If you see that person slipped on your banana who's in second, that's really useful information to know, because then you know they're further behind you. Definitely keep this on, unless you're doing some weird challenge or something. Okay, let's go back, and we'll go to cosmetics right now. Grand Prix rewards, Grand Prix is interesting. I'll talk about it later. Right now, let's look at cosmetics. So cosmetics, of course, are just cosmetics. And here they are. There's 5 of them. There's helmets, racing suits, which is basically the rest of your armor. Horns, which is different horn noises when you press the spacebar. Kart skins, which is how you change how your kart looks. And particle trail selector, so you can change the particles that your kart leaves behind. First of all, let's look at the helmets. Of course, these are just cosmetic. I really like the look of this helmet, so I bought it. But, yeah. There's that. Same with racing suits. You can get a whole bunch of different suits. You can turn it off if you want. Yeah, there's a lot. Horn selector, lots of different horn noises. There's the default horn. I just have that because I have only been working on my Kart Parts and I haven't really saved up enough to get this stuff. And yeah, there's all the horn noises. Kart skin selector, probably the most important one because this can actually affect your gameplay. So there's different kinds of kart skins. I personally think that the Blue Shell Ink model is the best because these are all different sort of like models. I'll show you what they all look like. This is the Hypsenwagen kart model. This is what the shape of all of the Hypsenwagens are, just they look different. Here's Blue Shell Ink. And this is my favorite. The reason why, I'm going to pause it here while I explain to you why it's my favorite, is it's flat in the front and the back. So you can easily see in front of you and you can easily see behind you. There's no big tail fin, there's no big windshield. Very good kart skin. Or very good kart shape, I should say. For those of you who want to know, here's Slothinger. This kart shape. A lot of people use this because it looks cool, but it's actually the worst shape because it blocks so much of your vision. Here's Turbo Brine, which this is your default kart that you will get, which is okay. It just has a really big tail fin in the back. And finally, Cefax Core. That's what this one looks like. Again, really big tail thing. I wouldn't really get this. Now here's the thing. You have one kart already in each of these things. A free one, which is the first one. So what I would do is I would change from your default Turbo Brine to the default Blue Shell, which is the Phantom. And it looks like this. Then maybe someday after you've maxed out all your kart parts, then you can change your kart skin to something more cool. Like, for example, Ender Runner, which is a really neat kart skin. Okay, that's kart skins. And Particle Trail. You can change just sort of what it looks like in the back. You can reset it if you want, turn it off. And of course, you just buy them. You have to be a VIP to buy different trails. I know it's annoying, but you know, Hypixel just needs to plug their ranks. And that is these 3 sections of the Turbo Kart Racers shop. I'll show you this later. Again, right now, what you've all been waiting for, I am going to show you guys how to drift. Okay, so here is how drifting works. First of all, before you learn to drift, you should learn to play in first-person mode. After you get the controls down, it's much, much better than third person. Once you are comfortable with the controls, get comfortable with first person, and there's a lot of reasons. First of all, you can take corners easier. You can see the boundaries of your kart. Also, when you're aiming at people, you can aim with your crosshair instead of having to hope that you're hitting them with the back of your head. And you can also aim behind you. Because the kart doesn't change direction on where you're facing, you can be going forward, then aim behind you and fire, say, a missile at someone. That is way better than being in third person. After you master that, you'll learn how to drift. Oh, look, there's a mod in this game. That's interesting. Anyway, basically, how you drift is this. So you're going along, and the drift is shift. Okay, you press shift to drift. And how it works is interesting. Basically, it doesn't change how fast you go. Even though you're pressing shift, it doesn't change your speed. I'm not drifting right now, by the way. I'm just talking about it. Not drifting yet, I mean. It doesn't change how fast you go while you're shifting, even though you're shifting, and it would make sense that you're going slower. It doesn't change that. What it does is after you let go of shift, it gives you a small speed boost. And here's how it works. So I'm going to drift right here. Ready? So I hold shift, I turn, and then, okay, did you see that? I'm going to replay that. So as you can see, the bar in my crosshair goes up when I let go of shift. Here's how it works. When you're drifting, you have to be turning. The more you turn while you drift, the more of a boost you'll get. If you don't turn while you boost, like if I just boost on a straightaway without turning, it won't do anything. Ready? So I'm shifting here, not turning. It doesn't give me any boost. The more you turn while you shift, the more of a boost you get. And finally, one thing you guys should note is this, just like booster mushrooms, does not work as well when, first of all, you're going uphill. It works best on flat surfaces, and it works best when there's no, I guess you'd call them booster pads. And finally, I think it works best around corners, because since the more you turn, the bigger boost you get. As you can see right there, I got a big boost because I'm going around the corner, and I'll get another here. Now here's the thing, your engine can burn out if you boost too much. So watch this, I'm gonna turn here, and look, my engine just burned out. If the bar goes all the way to the right, then your engine burns out and you spin out like I just did. Similar to when you land on a slippy banana. Then it resets to 0 after you spin out. You do not want to do that, and here is my general rule of logic. If your bar is below yellow, then it's safe to drift. See, right now I can drift here, my bar's on yellow, it's going down, 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 and now it's below yellow. Now I can drift again. If it's above yellow, like now, or it's yellow or above, there's a very good chance I'll spin out, just like I did. That's my general rule. There might be a better one, but I think it's a very good starting point for drifting. And drifting can take a while to master. That person just zoomed in front of me. Drifting can take a while to master, but once you get it down, it will get you in a way higher place than regular. Now, again, I didn't get a super great place that game because I was talking to you guys, but, yeah, that is how drifting works, and again, it's more complicated, it's slightly more advanced, you really need to get a feel for it. It's like riding a bicycle, but once you do get it, it'll help you out a lot. And last thing, guys, that you need to know about Turbo Kart races, if you really get into it, then you can invest in the Grand Prix. This is just like ranked Skywars, sort of, but for Turbo Kart racers. There's divisions. So what you do is you go to TKR shop and you hit Grand Prix rewards. Now here's how it works. There's seasons, just like in ranked Skywars. There's different divisions, just like in ranked Skywars. And what you do is, when you get within a certain division and the month ends, you can click it and get the rewards. Wood division, you need at least 50 Grand Prix points. You get Grand Prix points when you end a game. The higher you get, the more points you get. Now, it works as a point system up until Diamond. Then it's top 1%. Now, last month, I got Diamond Division, because Masters is really hard to get. You have to be the top 3 TKR person, I guess. And the TKR rewards are pretty insane. First of all, you get 200,000 Hypixel experience from Diamond Division, which is what I got. That's a lot of Hypixel experience. Even lower ones like Gold and Iron still give you a lot. Masters is just insane, but yeah. It also gives you a lot of TKR coins. This right here could get you a free Eternal Awesome part. It gives you Grand Prix tokens, which you need to buy certain cosmetics, and it gives you a lot of classic tokens, which you can use to roll for different things. I'll show you how classic tokens work. So as you can see on the right, you see classic tokens. I have 11 right now. You can run over to this guy who rolls classic tokens. You can either roll 100 or 10 classic tokens at a time. I'm going to roll 10 classic tokens, and that gives me a reward, basically. It's not in any specific game, but it just gives you a certain thing. Like, for example, right now, I got 7,500 paintball coins, which isn't that great, but you know what? There's a chance you might get TKR coins, and then you could spend that on cosmetics and new parts. And there you have it, guys. That is basically everything you need to know about Turbo Kart Racers. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you want to see some actual footage of me playing TKR, here is a very short video I did a few days ago. You guys can go and click. Anyway, peace out, guys. Hope you enjoy playing TKR. BigGreenBeast out.